Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're going to talk about Biden having classified documents. We're going to go in. I've done some reporting. I've been looking around, and I'm going to go through the story, at least as proposed by CNN, and then I'm going to give a bunch of asterisks, okay? Several classified documents from President Joe Biden's time as VP were discovered last fall in a private office. Biden's attorney acknowledged Monday. Attorney General Merrick Garland asked the U.S. Attorney in Chicago to investigate the matter. Biden's lawyers say they found the government materials in November while closing out a Washington, D.C.-based office, the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Government Engagement, blah, 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 blah. That Biden used as part of his relationship with the University of Pennsylvania, where he was an honorary professor from 2017 to 2019. Fewer than a dozen classified documents were found at Biden's office, another source told CNN. It's unclear whether the documents pertain why they're in Biden's private office. Federal office holders are required by law to relinquish official documents and classified records when their government service ends. The White House is cooperating with the National Archives and the Department of Justice. The custody of these documents were made by the president attorneys. The documents were not the subject of any previous request or inquiry by the archives. Since that discovery, the president's personal attorneys have cooperated with the archives and the Department of Justice in a process to ensure that any Obama-Biden administration records are appropriately in the possession of the archives. Now, this news story, as well as many others, have also said that some of them are classified. So, and I want to remind everybody that during the Trump Mar-a-Lago documents debacle, we learned that there are different levels of classified. I am certainly not a friend to Republicans. I'm not a friend to I don't like Democrats one bit either. To just take my partisan hat off for a second and to be objective and look at this realistically. Is this comparable to Trump having these documents? I'd say no. And the reason why I say no is because the only comparison between the two is there were documents that were found that needed to be returned to the National Archives. Everything else is different. These were, in Biden's case, these were found, and within 24 hours, the first thing that his lawyers did, the people that found them, were to call the National Archives and have them returned, as well as bringing in, willingly, the Department of Justice to help look and see if they can find any others that are still missing, just in case. Which is what you're supposed to do in a case like that, which is kind of normal. And the fact that we don't have a system set up where we have people from intelligence agencies come through and look at all the shit that our president's going to take beforehand just to make sure that nothing mistakenly got taken with them, so cases like this don't happen. The reason why the Trump situation is different is because the National Archives asked him for the stuff back. He took it when he wasn't supposed to, which in theory Biden has done as well here. But Biden was unknowingly, as far as we're aware, and Trump was knowingly. And even if Biden knowingly took these, they were returned almost immediately. So it kind of doesn't. So there's already a difference of intent. I'm sure people watching this are probably like, "Oh, he's just defending his actions." Yeah, because the fact of the matter is that Trump took a lot of very classified documents. And the fact that we are just hearing about this Biden situation now, even after the midterms, and the reason it wasn't leaked out was probably because there weren't any CSI documents, like there weren't any like ones with very dangerous information involved. It was probably just some stuff that was like a couple pieces were somewhat classified, but it wasn't enough to, put people's lives at risk like Trump did. I want to also be clear here because I know that any conservative watching this might think, "Oh, he's doing a whataboutism." I'm really not. It's apples to oranges in the sense of they're both fruit, but that's really where they're both fruit, and that's really where the comparison stops. Trump was malicious You know, like, don't assign to malice what can be assigned to stupidity. You know, explained by stupidity. Biden's case is stupidity. Trump was malice. And the reason I'm comfortable saying it's malice is because every time he says, "Oh, well, I'm allowed to have them," and when it's found he's not allowed to have them, he says, "Well, I've declassified them." And when that doesn't really mean that he didn't go through the proper procedures to do that, he says, "Well, I'm the president. I can do what I can say," and that's not a power he has. You got to remember, if you are a parent and you are talking to your 12-year-old, and they say, "Oh, I did this thing," and then you go and you say, "No, you didn't do this thing," and like, "Oh, I did do that thing. It just got dirtied again." And then you're like, I've been downstairs all day. I haven't seen you come into the kitchen to do the thing I told you to do. And they say, "Well, I got caught up with something really important," like, and are like, "What was the what was the important thing?" And it's like, I was doing my homework, and then you check their homework and it's not done. It's like the goalpost moves, because you have to remember, like, conservatives want to start at what they want the solution to be, and then they make up facts and try and bend reality to bend towards that. So is this going to be is this Biden classified documents thing is it a big deal? Not really. Nobody's probably going to die from it like Trump, like people did with Trump. There's probably no risk of it getting into. There's probably very little risk of falling into, foreign actors' hands, like the case with Trump's. Is this going to be a 6-month, a 2-month circus that conservative media is going to use to justify House investigations into the Biden administration as a way to deflect from Trump's wrongdoings? Absolutely. And that's absolutely what's going to happen. And there's nothing we can do about it because conservatives are hypocrites and bastards. Damn the American people, damn the inflation, damn the debt. Let's go after the Biden so we can make a false equivalency for the fascists we put into office. Have a good one, everybody.